Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Amina, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about how to write a personal statement or how not to write a personal statement. Now this is specifically for personal statement for UCAS, so those that are in year 13 or even those that are in year 12 and are thinking about writing a personal statement soon, but those that are in year 13 and that are applying for university very soon. So it's quite relevant right now, I think, and I think a lot of you have been messaging me about personal statements and how to write one, and so I did a bit of research online and I found something quite interesting that I highly urge any of you that are about to write a personal statement to, or have written their personal statement and are editing, to read. Now this research actually came out from the Sutton Trust. The Sutton Trust is an educational charity which aims to champion social mobility, so trying to get students that come from disadvantaged or low socioeconomic backgrounds into Russell Group universities, and just trying to understand where the barriers are, what's going on, how to help get more students into Russell Group universities, etc, etc. And I'm going to leave the link for the PDF down below. It showed us that school teachers are actually not informed and are giving incorrect information to students regarding what admission tutors actually want to see. Personal statements to admission tutors and to teachers. What they showed is that the teachers only agreed with admission tutors 10 times, 10 personal statements out of 44 personal statements. So the personal statements that the teachers said, yeah, this is amazing, really good, was the opposite of what the admission tutors actually said. And I find this shocking because as a year 12 or year 13 student, you've probably listened to your teachers the whole time. Now I'm not saying, please don't go to your teachers and say, Ms. Sir, what you're saying is wrong. That's not what I'm saying. There does need to be a lot more clarity from universities for what they're looking for, and also teachers do need to do a lot more research as to what it is that the admission tutors are looking for. It's no longer good enough to just add a quote from a book, say that you went to this exhibition or say that you read this book. There's a lot more that needs to go into your personal statement than. So using examples from the research, so I'm basing this video on that research because I think it is so profound. I'm going to be telling you 4 different ways, 4 things, 4 parts of your personal statement that you need to reconsider if this is the stance that you took when writing your personal statement. The first thing you shouldn't do is starting with a sort of general motivation. I know that we love to start our personal statements by saying, I've always wanted to be a doctor, it's always been my dream, or this happened or that happened and that's why I want to do this, and it sounds cliche, and that is what the admission tutors were saying in the research, that it sounded cliche when students were too general about their motivations. In fact, the admission tutor has said that opening statements that are empty with no examples cited to back it up provides no useful details about the applicant. And I think that's something that we need to remember when writing a personal statement. You need to remember that the admission tutor wants to know who you are. They want to know what you have to offer them, to offer the university. What is it that you're bringing? They don't care if you can define this theorem or if you can define that law. That's irrelevant to them if it's not backed up with personal information. What's better is for you to use examples. So use examples and be specific. Make it personal. Use I. You're allowed to use I in a personal statement. I know that it's not the norm when it comes to writing, but use I, use first person, speak from a personal perspective. Make sure, grab the reader. Don't be general, don't use cliches, don't say I've always wanted to. If you have I always wanted to, get rid of it now. The second thing to avoid is trying to be original and making original thoughts. Now the reason why I'm saying original is because for the most part we haven't studied this subject yet. We're not experts. You're not an expert. You're going into this field to become an expert, to learn more. Tutors don't expect you to say something novel about a piece of art or a piece of work or whatever it is. They don't expect that from you. So in fact, you might actually be causing the opposite effect when you try to be original. In the research, it showed that teachers said that this was an amazing example of wider reading, and teachers really like it when students put original thought of wider reading into the personal statements. However, the tutor said that actually the student has misunderstood the topic. So they were looking at a specific statement, and the teacher said this is amazing, but the tutor said they've misunderstood the topic completely, and this isn't a claim that they can make. So you haven't actually impressed the tutors. So how you can impress the tutors is by really showing them that you are dedicated and motivated, and what is it that you have done to show them that you are passionate. What have you done, you know, work experience, who have you spoken to, what conferences or exhibitions have you been to, what other information do you know based on what you've learned, based on what you've listened to, but you're not trying to show that you can develop this critical, you know, wider reading. You're not trying to show that you can already write a first-class essay, because that's not what they're looking for, and it's not what they expect. The third thing that you shouldn't do is keeping it too simple. Now, I know that you, for example, if you've applied to medicine, you probably shadowed in a hospital or a GP clinic, whatever, and you know a lot of information about something that you've seen. Now, what the tutors have said is that this is actually really good to include. It's good to include detail. There's a particular paragraph that a student had written for medical school, and had a lot of detail. In fact, I'm looking at it now, and it said they were talking about they shadowed in GI surgery. They observed, they have a lot of clinical terms in here, lots of terminology. Only someone who would have shadowed would know. They also talk about survival rates. They talked about the amount of drug that was given, and the teacher actually said that the information was way too heavy with medical terms and was also too long and too impersonal, and said that the student wouldn't get a place for having, it's quite a big paragraph. But actually the tutors said that this was a really good piece of description, which showed that they are able to analyze a complex case. And the student was able to, in that paragraph, show that they understood how important communication is, as opposed to just saying, oh, I know how to communicate, I communicated really well. By writing this paragraph, it showed that they were able to communicate because they listened to everything that they were taught, they wrote it down, and they were able to kind of describe it in a way that was thorough in their personal statement. They also, in that statement, were able to reflect on their experience. I believe they said something like, from this, I realised the crucial role of primary care services in promoting healthy lifestyles to prevent the onset of disease. And that showed, the tutor said that showed their maturity. So it showed that even though they haven't even entered medical school, only in year 13, probably in year 12 when they did this experience, but they were able to take out so much in-depth analysis of this medical condition and reflect upon it, to say that they want to be a doctor because it's, you know, the importance of primary care, etc. Show the tutors that actually this person was serious and motivated and mature. If you have information that you think is relevant to that subject and is based on your experience, then include it. Just make sure that it hasn't got any errors, or that it isn't factually. The last contentious issue about personal statements was the use of theory or opinion. Now, this does depend on subject, so I think it does depend obviously which subject you are doing. For medicine, for example, a theory or an opinion isn't really something that you go by, whereas something maybe something to do with literature, or something to do with law maybe, or psychology, it might be more relevant. Tutors actually said that this statement showed excellent evidence of intellectual curiosity, and said that it's a good account of how the applicant responded to being stretched. For this reason, the tutor felt that the statement would strongly increase the applicant's chances. This isn't you trying to make your own theory and make your own kind of analysis. This isn't that. This is building upon the work that's already there. This is building upon theories that are already out there and giving your opinion on them. Just kind of shows that you have that analytical mind, but you're not trying to show that you can do more than what you're able to do at the moment. Whereas teachers thought that it's too theoretical and it doesn't really show any personal information. I think it's really important to know what it is that you're including in your personal statement and know what kind of information the admission tutors actually want. It is a huge issue at the moment where teachers and tutors don't really agree, and as you can see from the research, they don't agree at all on what each other would want. So if you have written your personal statement, go back and look at it and make sure that you have thought about the points that I've just mentioned in this video, and please read that research because they're the ones at the end of the day that you need to impress, not your teachers. I'll link down below to the research so you can go and read it for yourself. It's quite short, so just print it out and take a look at it to help you with your personal statement. And like I said, if you have any questions about editing and professional editing for your personal statement, then do send me an email. I'll get back to you ASAP about that. And don't forget to follow me and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!